All right, it is October 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m. I'm going to call to order our regular school board meeting here at the Woodford County Central Office. We have roll call. All members are here in person. And we're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance, which is right back here on my right.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know where did she? Do we have any proposed amendments to the agenda? All right. Well, let's get started with our superintendent's report. We have recognitions to start.
Yes.
And I believe, Dr. Rayburn, are you doing the first one? Oh.
Okay, so our first recognition.
Yep.
Good evening, board. Tonight, we are recognizing two of our educators from our district level. They're digital learning coaches. And what they are being recognized today is they have achieved a great honor for our district, which is called the ISTE Certified Educator Award. The ISTE Certified Educator is an educator who has demonstrated mastery for the International Society for Technology and Education Standards for educators through a competency-based certification program. So what that means is these two digital learning coaches have had to submit a portfolio. It takes a year long. It's a year-long program, and that portfolio is scored based off of their performance on that portfolio. And they have to achieve so many points to get the certification at the end of the time. So think of it like a national board certification, but just strictly for the ISTE standards. And the ISTE standards are tied directly to our technology standards in our state. We actually use the ISTE standards as part of our digital learning standards that we have for the state. So these, our digital learning coaches are the first two in the district that have earned it since they've been in the district. I had it previously from a different district, but it is a program that is highly recognized by ASCD, which is the Curriculum Association, and ISTE, because they have now combined forces. And it is totally based on competency-based education with curriculum and instruction for technology. So tonight we're presenting to our two digital learning coaches, Ms. Sandy Adams and Erica Snow, for their continued support and their award-winning, yeah. Do you want to present these? And board, you'll hear more about what they are doing on a regular basis in my update today.
Hold on. Our second recognition is going to be a long one. Just bear with me because there are so many accolades to celebrate with this team. So we want to recognize, first of all, our golf team, Woodford County High School golf team. Come on up. We are incredibly proud to recognize the Woodford County High School golf team for their exemplary conduct and sportsmanship this season. We had another school reach out to us and comment on these young men and on their just their conduct and sportsmanship. And so the character and integrity they displayed are the most vital measures of the program's success. The team, the coaches, and the parents recently received high praise following their participation in the Steward Gregory Memorial High School Golf Tournament at the Monticello Country Club on August 24th. The host organization was so impressed that they specifically commended the team, noting the players' outstanding sportsmanship and mannerisms. They stated that the Woodford delegation was extremely supportive and kind, representing themselves, their families, school, and community extremely well. This recognition of character reflects the quality of our student athletes. Thank you for demonstrating those, gentlemen. And then we also want to recognize you for being a program of excellence. In academic leadership, recently we learned from their banquet for the third consecutive academic year from 2022 to 24, the Woodford County High School golf team is anticipated to maintain or be very close to having the highest overall GPA of any Woodford County High School sports team. Furthermore, every eligible player on the 31-person roster earned first or honorable mention at the KHSAA all academic teams. And then competitive success. While fielding a large developmental roster this year, the team remained competitive. Senior leader Bradford demonstrated exceptional performance and character, culminating in his recent award as the prestigious 2025 KHSAA Midway Male Student Athlete of the Year for golf, an honor recognizing performance, academics, leadership, and community service. 13 of the 31 players also earned a varsity letter. And it's also my understanding that Bradford is about to sign with a certain university that shall remain nameless until that's publicly. Okay, University of Kentucky. So. The coaching staff, players, and their families are commended for embodying the highest ideals of the student athlete, making character their primary accomplishment. Thank you so much. We have a certificate for each one.
Yeah, I can read for you. All right. Okay, I'm going to read these names in order that they're listed. So starting with Bradford Lacefield. Jay Wells. Ethan McAllister. Pete Thompson. Troy Ziebert. Charlie Gatewood. Cole Asbury. Mac Mefford. Cole Brown, who is not here tonight, but we'll applaud him anyways. And Aiden Gold.
Now we have our superintendent's remarks.
Well, good evening. I wanted to start by just sharing a couple things that have been really uplifting in our unique district this last month. One, our steering committee for our visioning process, our strategic plan and visioning process is featured here on the very first slide. And I just wanted to share that because that team has done an excellent job of really taking the survey feedback as well as our focus groups to really align and work on creating the vision for our next 5 years. I wanted to also shout out to our high school for an incredible homecoming week 2 weeks ago. The image you see happens to be one of our students pieing Mr. Reed, our principal, in the face, and I may have shouted that he needed to make sure that the pie got up his nose. So, and he did. So, 2 really key resources I want to share with all of our families, and these are very important. One, this week is Kindness Week, and we are, based on our student leaders, we are focusing on really trying to tackle cyberbullying specifically, because our students indicate to us that cyberbullying, specifically outside of school, is a big issue that our students are facing. And so we have a really great program that we're offering this week to our parents that you can do an online, it's just a simple 25-minute course that will it will show you and demonstrate to you really what's going on and some of the risks with cyberbullying, and will also give you resources and information around that topic. So I highly encourage our families, our caregivers, to complete that. And then the other one, our board and myself and our district leaders are very concerned about food insecurity due to the loss of SNAP benefits in November. And so we have truly coalesced around that to come together and to make plans for how do we provide even more resources for our families who will be experiencing the loss of SNAP benefits. And so one of the things I wanted to tell you is that our family resource centers are committed, and they have an extensive list of organizations, including ours, that can offer specific services to our families. So if we have a family that's experiencing that, please feel free, please reach out to our family resource coordinator in your child's school, and we'll get you connected to the resources. And then the other thing, we have our upcoming food pantry drive all next month, and our students are excited about really trying to really ramp that up so that we can support our local food bank even more. And so be on the lookout for that opportunity for those that can support that. And our emergency management director, Drew Chandler, is meeting with our organization along with others in the community on Wednesday to really try to focus and even amplify those efforts. I'm thankful to be in a district and a community that cares about that. It's my honor to serve as superintendent. Quickly, I wanted to thank the volunteers who helped lead the reality store experience for our 7th graders. It was incredible, and we could not have done it without our volunteers, so thank you for that. I also wanted to shout out our marching band finished in the top 10 in the state this past weekend. To see how they progress from summer coming together, and then to just so many people sent me videos and text messages and of just how proud they were of our band and how they represent us so well. And so I just wanted to shout out to them. And then our girls volleyball team, I was there yesterday. They fought to the very end, and their character and their sportsmanship really shined for others to see, and they worked hard to the very end. And so I just wanted to do a shout out for them as well. Some of the themes I've been rounding and also meeting with groups, my Hive groups, and some of the themes that have come out of those conversations One was really identified by our students cyberbullying, and so we have a really full plan in place thanks to our mental health team at the district and school levels, and I'm excited about the work that we're doing around that. Our students in my student hive groups 2 weeks ago said they feel very safe in our schools. That makes me really happy, and so I put school safety there as one of the areas that we really are doing a great job in, and just a shout out to our school resource officers specifically from that rounding session. Student voice, that's in the middle. That's something we're working on. How do we give more students voice? We do give students voice, but we want to see how we can even expand that more. And then our central office team is working on a comprehensive system sort of revamp to address our hiring, onboarding, and payroll systems to make those even better. And the last thing that I keep hearing feedback about is thank you for your budget transparency. And we are continuing to work on that. If you have not gone to the budget tab lately on the district website, please do that. Every budget committee meeting is listed there. The slide deck for each one, the minutes for that, they're all listed there. And then last, this month we're really working, I'm working on learning more and implementing and working on our operational systems. And that comes from Standard 5 in the superintendent evaluation standards. And we are working really hard. I'm working with my superintendent mentor as well as the Kentucky Association of School Administrators, KDE, Baird, Central Kentucky Education Co-op, to make sure that we have the very best operational systems in place. So I just wanted to share some of the training and the resources that I'm receiving as your superintendent around that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of that information. I know it really helps, I think, a lot of people, and I've heard feedback that they really do appreciate the information that you're sharing on what's going on, and so definitely thank you for putting all that together. All right, well, let's go to our good news report, and Ms. McEntee, I'm going to start over with you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So for my good news report, I wanted to shout out a student. Addie Moore is a 6-time back-to-back region champion for cross country, and she just committed D1 to Lipscomb University in Tennessee. She would never brag about it, but I'm going to sit up here and brag about her because she's really humble, but she deserves everything. She makes an elephant. She looks slow. Okay, I am not fast on cross country whatsoever, but I mean, she's really fast, and she has got so much grit and determination, and she deserves everything she's gotten. So congrats to her.
Ms. McCowan?
Yeah, I was going to mention too the great season or the great performance that our band had over the weekend, finishing top 10 in the state. But I also want to shout out Miss Millie, who was named our homecoming queen a couple of weeks ago. So congratulations, Millie. I think everybody had such a good time. I loved seeing the elementary schools, the middle school get involved with all of the themes, and I think it just helps to kind of unify the district even more. So it was a great week.
Mr. Chairman, you all may remember in the summer on the good news or good work report, I mentioned the band being out on the concrete parking lot working themselves to death. Mm-hmm. I also mentioned that I saw the football team in the dead of summer. Well, you fast forward to today, the band is a top 10 band in the state, and the football team is #1 in the state. So we are just so lucky to have such good students and staff and coaches, and like the 2 men with the golf team today, you could see how proud they were of those players. So there's a lot of good around here, and I'm glad we can recognize them. Thank you.
Dr. Gould?
I'd like to give out a shout out to both our girls and boys varsity soccer teams. They both made it to the championship game of the districts. The boys won in a very exciting PK shootout. You gotta love a good PK shootout. So congratulations to both of those teams. Our athletes are just doing amazing things. I was also very privileged to participate in the reality store. Those of you who were around last month, I love that event. I get so excited every time I have the opportunity to participate. We have some amazing seventh graders who really learned how to budget, make good choices, really had forward thinking in that process. Some of them had kids, some of them had, really well-paying jobs, others maybe not so much, and they had to learn how to work within their means. And so I love that program. Everybody who puts that on does an amazing job. And it's great to see all of our community members come together that come and table at that event. So if you have an opportunity to next year, I really encourage you all to sign up and volunteer, because it does take a lot of volunteers to make sure that runs smoothly and successfully.
Thank you. Ms. Springate?
Well, I'm glad that you guys left me the learning demonstrations when we were coming in today. How amazing. All of the students that were out there with their tables, with their work, ready to talk and discuss and really just show off what they've been doing. The presentations were just amazing. It's nice to see.
Second that as well. They did a great job, and I think some of them are still here, so yeah, great job, everybody. I also just wanted to shout out, I love anytime students and just community organizations partner together, and I saw so many students having fun at Spooktacular. There's like thousands of people downtown last night, so most of you might have been there. But just seeing all of the different, students, and whether they're athletes, whether they're in theater, whether they're in academic teams, they all have something fun to do when we have these big community events. And so I just wanted to say thank you to all the community partners and everybody that participated. Whether you were a zombie, whether you were, just on the sidelines watching, it was a really great time.
I wanted to give a shout out to Miss Bug Brown. We have had a lot of athletic events, and for those of you who don't know her, she is one of the co-chairs, her and Mr. Swingle of FCA, and they both do a great job just getting around to the kids, being present, being that positive adult influence. And they show up. And they're on the sidelines, and they are there I don't think I ever go to a game that Bug is not present. So she is a longtime fixture in Whitford County, and we are just very fortunate to have her. She didn't know I was doing that soccer season.
All right, now we're ready to see a performance. So Mr. Marcy, turn it over to you.
There we go. Sorry, maybe my beard muffled some of it, I'm not sure. All right, my name is Greg Marcy. I'm the Director of Orchestras for Woodford County Middle School, and I also co-teach with Ms. Zoe Harrison at the high school to cover all the elementaries. I'm also the woodworking teacher over at the middle school, so thank you all so much for checking out our displays and our students who brought their projects to demonstrate them and show what we were working on. Thank the board for allowing us to have a program like that in the schools, because these students are realizing this is part of their future that they can actually apply to working in an industry they didn't realize needed new people. Today in front of you we have our 7th grade orchestra members. This is not all of our orchestra members, but this is just a condensed size of them. First violin we have Mr. Harvey Slatton. Mr. Parker Page, yep, please applaud them, they deserve it. Mr. Ben Free on violin, 2nd violin. Landon Carroll, 2nd violin. Mr. Liam Foley, viola. Melinda Doyle on cello. Sammy Weiss on cello. And Mr. Wade Couch on bass. We have just finished putting together one of our pieces for our upcoming concert on December 15th at the high school. It's called Bats and Bones. We hope you enjoy it. While it may not be our finished, polished product, we are just rejoicing that we're through it and moving on to new pieces. So, hope you enjoy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marcy, and everybody that just played for us. Thank you so much. It's apparent how talented you are and how much work you put into that. So great job, everyone. All right. We'll give a little bit for parents and family to head out with their musicians. As someone who is not very musically inclined, I'm always so impressed with people that can do that. So, just amazing.
We are very fortunate to have Mr. Marcy in our school
Yes, we
district.
are.
As a parent of 2 kiddos who have been through orchestra, I cannot say enough wonderful things about our program. So shout out for sure. You're welcome.
All right. Well, next up, we have Miss Preston to give us our Woodford County Middle School presentation.
All right, sorry, I'll ramble if I don't have this. So, all right, so thank you guys for coming early tonight to see our exhibitions of learning. And thank you to the families who were here and have stayed, because we have a couple more students who you guys are going to hear from here in just a bit. When I started planning this, I knew that I wanted to share about some of the things that we're doing at the middle school and what our students are involved in. And so the timing just really worked out that our students have just finished their first 9 weeks and their portrait time projects. And so thank you for putting that together and allowing that to happen. So this year we are just really focusing on providing opportunities for our kids to have learning experiences and to do things like that and to be in front of people and talking. And we just think that that's really important. So I'm going to highlight just a couple of things from last year. A huge part of our presentation last year was a focus on relationships and BAR. Last year was the first year that we implemented that at the middle school. I know that I started it at the high school a couple years ago. They're still going strong with it. And I knew after that first year at the middle school, like, we've got to get BAR, we've got to do this. It's really going to fix a lot of stuff. So it was a really big change, but it also made some really big changes in our building. So just last year, we had a 0.5 increase in attendance, and then our office discipline referrals were down 40%. And that was not changing like our behavior system or any of that. So it is our SEL component, and then it's also just really intentional relationships and knowing our students and meeting their needs and just getting to know them. So it's a really great model that we do. We also focused on PLC last year. So all of our PLCs went through and identified all of their essential standards and unwrapped those learning targets, and all of that work was just to ensure a viable curriculum. Another big change for us last year was we changed our entire bell schedule to add in a 4th period that was dedicated to Portrait of a Learner. And we came in it with really big plans, and honestly, the first couple of weeks, it was a struggle. And so we had to come back to the drawing board, and we had to just revisit constantly what success in that class looked like. So our teachers were so dedicated to finding something that worked for us. So I'm really excited we kept it. I'm really excited for the things that are coming out of that class. The things that you saw out there today, those are the types of things that are coming out of that class. Just giving students a chance to experience things and to have just really great learning experiences. So moving to this year, our big rocks, of course, they're just the things that center us. They guide us as we make decisions. Our first one is on unity. So something that I'm really passionate about is that students feel like they belong in our building, that they know that they're loved in our building. And I think that the students that are in here can tell you how I end announcements every day, because I end it the same way, and I tell them that you belong here and you are loved. And I am really passionate about every student believing that and having opportunities to feel that, because middle school's hard. Middle school can be really hard for kids. So we have things like the bar model. We offer Tiger Times. We do clubs. Something new we started this year was Student of the Month, which has been fun. We kind of took over a trophy case and are putting up those. We have the student interview panels that we are offering. We do Sources of Strength. We have, of course, we have all kinds of extracurriculars. And then our own little spin on the House Point model, which is Earn Your Stripes. And so we just do everything we can to help our students feel included. All right, our second big rock is All Kids Thrive. So we're continuing that focus on PLC and just unit planning and just making sure that we are supporting our students while also challenging our students and meeting them where they are. We are working to grow leadership opportunities and to expand our work with exhibitions of learning and just supporting students where they do need support. So. All right, and then our last one is Future Ready. So after being at the high school, when I got back to the middle school, I knew that we had some work that we could do to help our students be more prepared for high school. And so we have worked really hard to add some more exploration classes. One that you're going to hear about, one you already heard about. Mr. Marcy is teaching a woodworking class, which has been really great. Just really wanting to ensure that our students are leaving the middle school and are prepared for the high school and beyond. So just really committed to helping students engage in authentic experiences. And so to highlight those, I brought a couple of friends with me. All right, so we're going to start with Miss Ann Catherine Lester. I was about to call her Sophie. Miss Ann Catherine Lester. All right, and then all you have to do is just click.
So as Ms. Preston just said, I'm Ann Catherine Lester. I'm in 8th grade at the middle school, and I've been a part of Family Consumer Science and FCCLA for 2 years. So Family Consumer Science is one of the newer added explorations, and what it is, it's all in the name really. Family, focusing on healthy relationships with family, friends, peers, teachers, whoever you may be around. Working on manners and conversations around the table, wherever that may be as well, and child development and care that comes also with having children. Also, consumer, preparing all of us for life skills that we need now and in the future, as controlled spending, saving money wisely, comparison shopping, and unit price to ensure the best purchase is made. Then science, even though we don't do chemistry, biology, things like that, we do expand our knowledge of measurements and foods and nutritions, making sure recipes are exact, and the ability to prepare food with no safety concerns. I'm also a member of FCCLA, which also ties perfectly in with FCS class. So FCCLA stands for Family Career Community Leaders of America. FCCLA focuses on leadership, and that even means at home. If you create healthy habits at your house, you can be a leader, even influence those around you that might not be your age, even family members. Career, even though it's a middle school class, you choose a pathway in high school, and it's important to know kind of what you're wanting to do, learning the leadership skills that are important in the workplace as well. Also, community, another big part of FCCLA is working with local people, community members, businesses. We do a lot of hands-on work in the community, so that's an important part. And the biggest thing I think for me, probably Leaders of America, that we are tomorrow's generation. We are the next set of politicians and teachers and educators, and FCCLA strives to bring people out of their comfort zone and become a leader for the peers, chapter, family, school, and community. So, thank you.
All right, and you all mentioned the reality store earlier, but Mr. Sammy Weiss is here to talk a little bit more about it.
Hello, I'm Sammy Weiss. I'm in the 7th grade at Woodford County Middle School, and on Friday, October 17th, we went to KCTCS for the middle school 7th grade reality store, and we quote-unquote bought things like food, childcare, insurance, transportation, and housing, like to simulate real world. And some people were more fortunate job-wise. I was not. I was a paleontologist. Not that much money. but I think it's a good opportunity to learn what it's like for our parents to pay things like bills, taxes, rent. And I think it can relate to like Portrait of a Learner, because when things go wrong, like you run out of money, because that happened to like everyone I knew. There were cops that were walking around, and you could get tickets if you were like running. So you could be like a resilient learner if you just kept pushing through, creative problem solver, if you just like find a way to get the money back, like take from savings accounts, get a second and third job. I had to have 3 jobs. Yeah, I had 5 kids, so. Yep. But some kids in Woodford County Middle School, I think they're lucky because not all the schools get to have experiences like this, where you get to learn real world things that everyone's going to use. But as far as personal experiences goes, you might not want to take my advice because, yeah, 5 kids, 3 jobs, not ideal. Thank you.
All right, and last, I asked Mr. Gavin Burns, there are some more pictures from the Reality Store. I asked Mr. Gavin Burns to come and talk to you all about the Amazing Shake. So this was something that we did last spring. I think that several of you came and were able to see it, but Gavin was our winner last year. So he is here to share that with you all.
So, as Ms. Preston said, I'm Gavin Burns. I was the co-champion of the Amazing Shake last year here in Woodford County. Really fun. I got to sit on the back of a car in a parade, so that was fun. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Amazing Shake and like what it is, how it connects to the competencies. So first, what is the Amazing Shake? It is a gauntlet of 10 different situations that you are thrusted into, and you have a minute to work out the problem and make a solution, or act out the role that you must do. And you are scored on a scale of 0 to 20, 0 being the worst and 20 being the best. This is judged based on your performance under the pressure of the situation and if you executed to the prompt correctly. The situations are made to test your skills with stuff like selling a bag of food to a customer, explaining to a player why he isn't getting as much playing time as he thinks he should, taking a phone call from a concerned parent about their child's grade, and my favorite, giving a weather forecast like you're on TV. All the situations challenge you, and you have to be ready for anything. Oh, and don't forget your handshake at the beginning. You will get docked points if you forget it. Professionality, good speaking skills, and critical thinking are key. Without these skills, you will not perform to the level needed. Well, that's images. There we go. Of course, the whole reason I'm here is to tell you all how this connects to the Portrait of a Learner competencies. So let's go through all of them, starting with Resilient Learner. You are not going to know what to say for all of the stations, so you have to be resilient in the challenging ones. One of them was selling a house. I don't know much about real estate, but I know people love their high ceilings. So I channeled my inner HGTV and talked about that, and I worked it for a minute, and that's what got me to succeed. So it's little things that just work. Empathetic communicator. Not only do you have to have great speaking skills, you have to listen to the other person. Communication is a two-way road. You have to learn to listen to the other person and know when to speak for yourself. Talking to the athlete who wanted more playing time was a great example of this. You had to listen to the athlete, then tell him why you, as the coach, made the decisions that you did. Creative problem solver. Again, you will not know all of the stuff that's going to go your way, but you can't sit back and let your problems encompass you. You have to embrace them. The station that showed this to me was the red carpet station, because you had to think of something amazing you had done recently to share with the paparazzi. You did not have time to think, so even when I found it hard to think of something, I just thought FFA and project and boom, that's it, and just went with it. Sometimes the quickest solution you can find is the best one. Responsible contributor. You only have 1 minute for each station. This, which may seem like a lot, it's really not. Everything you say needs to be useful to the conversation. Take the 7-day forecast station. You don't want to have too many filler words or repeats. You want to focus on everything at face value and give the information you need to give. For this one, I went day by day and gave only the important information and not much more than that. And it did help me dominate that station. Well, my high caliber knowledge on the topic also helped, but I digress. Reflective collaborator. Collaboration for this event may seem slim as you are the one generally leading the scenario once it's given, but there's a lot of collaboration still needed. The one that I feel showed this was the store owner scenario, where I was selling some stuff to a customer. If they hadn't told me some of the things they wanted, like the gluten-free restriction or the size shirt they wanted, I would have been like a lost puppy in a thunderstorm. But with the collaboration from the main person, I was able to thrive at that station, as well as many others. To conclude, the Amazing Shake was an incredible experience to help me better my communication skills, as well as working with other people and the things I excel at, and the things I don't do so hot at. I'm really excited to go back out later this year and attempt to defend my champion title, but most of all, I hope to gain more skills for communication, problem solving, and collaboration in the process. Thank you.
So this morning he said, I can talk for 15 minutes, right? I said 5, under 5. So he said, I like to talk. All right, so that is all that we have for you. Thank you all for all that you do to support us. Thank you again to the families and students that came out and presented and shared today. And then come by anytime and visit. So, all right.
Great job, you all.
Yes, thank you so much. I think I might switch chairs with him, actually. I think he can handle this up here.
Listen, Gavin has been the goalie on Cash's soccer team, and I love hearing. That's my favorite thing about going to games is listening to Gavin cheer on the team from the goalie box. So he is great.
Great job.
But we will need future board members, Gavin, so.
I'll think about it. Okay.
All right. Let's see. So next we have our International Book Exchange Program information that I believe somebody's going to share with us.
Hello, good evening. My name is Rachel Ray. I'm with the International Book Project, and this is Jamie Fisher, who works at the after-school program at Southside Elementary. And
I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim. Nice to meet you. I just want to say I kind of wish I were a Woodford County School student because these programs sound really amazing. So excited to present to you all. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk. So International Book Project is an organization that's been around for 60 years. We're based in Lexington, Kentucky, and our mission is to provide educational materials to communities that don't have them, whether those be here at home in Kentucky or all around the world. We just shipped a 40-foot container full of books to Ethiopia, for example. It's about 30,000 books. But we also do a lot of programming in our communities, and one of these is the Books as Bridges program, which Jamie got really excited about. Jamie has been working with us on our Globetrotters, well, I was going to say summer camp, but they're not just summer anymore, our Globetrotters camps. It has been really, really amazing to work with, so you guys are very lucky to have Miss Jamie. But our Books as Bridges program is a cultural literacy exchange program. So we pair young people here in Kentucky with an international classroom. And then over the course of a semester, they exchange letters and get to know one another, get to know each other's cultures, get to know each other's like foods and songs and things that they like, and they exchange at least three letters throughout the year. And then we have an education coordinator at IBP, and she comes to the local classroom and she will teach a class on the partner country. So that's what Carrington has been doing all this week. She's taught lessons on countries in Africa. We have a partner class in Ukraine that we just got their letters in this week. And then the schools will also exchange what we call a cultural package. So they'll put together a box of, we leave it up to the students what they want to send. We got, at the end of the year, the school year last year, we got a box from Thailand that was all ramen noodles that we gave to the young people here in the local classroom, which they're very excited about. And then we also, at IBP, will send the partner classroom, the international classroom, a box of books to help supplement their library. In a lot of cases, these are areas that don't have a lot of access to books. We had one partner last year that was a refugee camp, and obviously they did not have a lot of books. So we're very fortunate to be able to help facilitate them growing their libraries. And this program is completely free for all participants. It is grant funded, so we don't charge anything for schools to participate. And schools also don't have to mail their packages internationally. We handle that as well. That is very expensive, I will tell you. So yeah, that is the kind of the main bulk of the program. I'd love to answer any questions if you have any, or let these two wonderful ladies say something. I just got up here and started going.
You're fine. That's why you're here.
All right. Are there any questions?
I don't have anything.
I just have one question. Do you, with the letters, do you mail them all together as one package, or do students, like, do teachers who are participating in their classrooms give you all the student letters and then it gets all
Yes,
shipped
and
over
we mail
together?
them all at once. Yep. We also preview the letters just to make sure everything's okay. I mean, they're children for the most part. They're not going to get too off color, but you know, when you have children who live in a refugee camp, there might be some kind of disturbing things that might come out. Yeah.
And then do you translate the letters from
They're in English.
Oh, they are. Okay, that's wonderful.
All our partner classrooms, and everybody speaks English.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. What we'd like to do is kind of this is not a pilot program. We've been doing it for 10 years, but we'd like to pilot it for you all in Jamie's after school and Kim's after school classroom. And if it's a success there, we would love to roll it out further in Woodford County Schools. It's for third grade through high school.
So we'd like to start it at Southside and see how it goes, and then maybe pilot it out to the other schools in the after-school program and see how it goes. So that's kind of where we want to start.
I think that sounds exciting. That's what I was going to ask, is what sort of is with this information, what is, what are our next steps, kind of, what are we looking to do? Is it an opt-in sort of thing? So I'm glad to hear that it'll start at one of the schools and evaluate it and see if it's something that can be rolled out to others.
Yeah, so the thought was, since Jamie's involved in this project, that I would work with Jamie as community ed director, and we would see how this would go at Southside, how that would go, what are the pluses, the minuses on that, and then we would expand it within Southside's after-school program to other classrooms, meaning within the ETC program. And then we would then use that as a model for the other 4 sites to do that same project in the other ones, so.
Sounds great. Anybody else? Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
sharing.
much. Appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Next, we have our new high school project update, and I think Mr. Smith's here.
Good evening, everyone. So not a lot of changes since the last time we spoke in September. We are down to just a handful of items, punch list items, primarily around the HVAC system and controls in the building. But we're working diligently and meeting with the warranty and the manufacturers, trying to get all of those items resolved so that we can close this project out and move on to the next thing. The ag barn, we're sort of stalled. We're almost finished with it, but we still like a little bit on the inside. We're sort of stalled at the plumbing permit stage, kind of waiting on that to happen at the state level so we can finalize that. I did not get quotes in time for the deadline for this board meeting for the auxiliary parking lot that we began discussions on last month. So I'll have that for the November board meeting and ready to present to you about that. So as of right now, the projects, both phase 1 and phase 2, the balance and the contingency for both projects is $802,000 approximately. So that's sort of the status of the project as we stand currently.
Yep.
Well, it's not really a question, it's more of a statement. So I know we talked about the gravel mixture that's at the county park up by the football stadium. I will say I went up there during some of the different sporting events just to check that out, to see what that looks like. It is not as stable as what I thought it potentially was. I mean, it is stable, but it's not like together. But one of the things I did notice is there is already a lot of like weeds and things like that popping up. Now I know the parking lot would get a lot more use than what that current parking lot is actually getting, be it daily versus just at game times. But I would say, and again, not a road constructor by any means, but it may be worth looking at, do we need to lay something underneath of that to prevent, kind of like weed paper? I don't think that's probably the right thing, but you know what I mean, something to keep that from coming up if we did decide to go that route. So maybe with the quotes, since they haven't happened yet, that might be something to ask. That was just an observation.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because the quotes do have that It's essentially, it's not landscape fabric, it's better quality, but it does the same thing as what you're referencing. And when we discussed this last month, I was really unfamiliar with what was put down at the Falling Spring. So that's milled asphalt. We don't have a lot of access to that. Like really the states and the counties are the only ones that have access to that because they're the ones milling the existing roadways and reclaiming and reusing that. What I have requested in the quotes is what's called dense grade aggregate, which is basically once it's watered and rolled, it's really smooth, really firm. It's what's put down underneath asphalt, and it'll probably give us the best surface. You know, it's not going to stay smooth forever as tire, but it'll pack down and it'll become as close to a concreted or asphalted surface that we can have without putting asphalt or concrete down. So that would be my proposal. That's what we're having quoted. But yes, we're asking for that fabric that you're referencing to go underneath that to keep the weeds from penetrating through that over time. So, yeah.
Very good.
Can you tell us what's going on with the HVAC at the high school? You said that there were some questions with the manufacturer or the warranty.
Yeah, well, there's been several issues, things going into alarm, and it's based on various things. Without getting too much into details, your HVAC system at home has a condensation line that allows the condensate to be removed from the house. Those have been backing up, and with these commercial units, there's a sensor in that shuts them down once it detects water or stoppage that they're not draining, which is a good thing because that would just cause a lot of water to backflow into the building and fall through the ceiling tiles. Just some tweaks that they're having to make because that was, when things were put in, maybe the slope of the lines didn't get exactly to the amount of fall that they should have based on the specs. The controls, that massive of a project, it's just been very time consuming getting all the internal controls set up with, when a unit kicks on, when it kicks off, and some of the variables. Now there has been some warranty. They've had to do some component replacements on some units. So one of the fresh air intake units, it's called an ERU unit. That's probably the biggest ongoing issue. It's running at like 80%. We've had the manufacturer dealer out there working on it, and the electricians still having some unidentified issues around that. But so that's kind of the deal with all of it. It's just been a lot of little things, but 3 months ago, I think we had a lot of little things. Now we've got it down to a more manageable situation with more along the lines of a handful of rooms. So.
I did have a couple questions. So the contingency balance you said is $802,000?
Yeah.
And that's after all outstanding?
So that's after we have purchase orders created for everything that I'm aware of that we've talked about, that we've approved. So that would not include the gravel auxiliary parking lot that we're talking about, that's really the only thing that's coming to my mind immediately. But yes, that should have everything that we've talked about taken care of.
And then the document that we received last month and then again this month that has the negative $77,000 that says remaining after all COs,
So that's going to be in the change order. The change order is for it was $77,000, and then there's a $1,020 credit for a couple of dead trees that aren't going to be replaced, and that gives you the change order balance of $76,243.
So that's
So that
not
is
the
not- that's-
remaining contingency balance. That's
The 77?
Mhm.
The 77 is the cost of the change order that we're going to talk about.
okay.
So let me clarify, I think, something that may be the documentation with the change order that Trace Creek provides is purely construction costs. They do not know what Woodford County Schools has spent on that high school for certain things that are outside of the construction project, like camera systems, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that has come along after that, after we, did the construction in order to get the building operational. So what he has does not reflect my balance. The $802,000 balance that I'm telling you is when we take all the revenues that were generated for those two projects and we paid out all the expenditures that we have encumbered and actual expenditures and invoices against, there's $802,000 left.
And that's before tonight's project?
That's before
Gotcha.
tonight's change order, yes.
And that's combining Project 1 and Project 2?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions? All right. Then we're moving on to the approve new high school change order.
Okay, so in September, I brought to you a spring remediation for an issue that was with the project when we started working on it, right? There was an underground spring that was pumping some water out. Somewhere along December of 2023, it dried up and went away. And it did not return until this past spring, after we actually got the high school open, got everything paved, the parking lots put in. As you recall, we had a tremendous amount of rain this spring. And so the underground spring returned. We started seeing water kind of accumulating in the landscaped area to the right of the bus loop. And so the architects, the engineers, Trace Creek, worked together for a remediation plan. I presented the remediation plan to you in September, and there's two parts. There's a part A that puts in some French drain pipe down along the side of the paved areas in the landscaped areas to help remove the water. And then there's a part B, which installs a spring box sort of in the middle of the bus loop roadway there, with the intention of that portion A will probably, maybe fix it. Portions A and B will most likely fix it. And so that was what I recommended to the board to present. The board, you had some questions. And so I've invited Travis Curry from Trace Creek Construction. I've invited Michael Hughes from Ross Torrent. And I've invited Michael Mays, who's from CMTA Engineering, to come. And hopefully they can answer any questions that you have in regards to this change order. So I'll ask these gentlemen to step forward and come up, and they can answer any questions that you have.
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, gentlemen, while you're coming up, I know, and you know, we had a school board meeting that this kind of came up, and many board members had questions. I'll try to grab some of them. If I miss any, let us know. But one of the things was that stood out to us was that this was found out at one point. We weren't made aware of it or given the opportunity to address it at that time. And then, like I said, you know, things dried up and it was kind of forgotten, pushed to the side, whatever it was. And then now it's kind of come back, and it looks to be an added expense that potentially wouldn't have been the same at the time of when it was discovered. And so as a board, you know, we were talking about this and wanted to get more information from you, which is why we invited you here, kind of on that timeline, that process, possible solutions, discussions that we may need to have about the cost and things like that. So did that cover it pretty good so far?
That does. The other thing that I have concerns with that is new for what Mr. Smith just shared is that this may fix it. Is there, if you could speak as well to a permanent solution that is, I know you can't, nothing's guaranteed, right, 100%, but more toward like the 95 plus area, because this is a significant amount of money that we're going to have to invest to remedy a problem that was there prior to the building of the parking lot. The other thing that I would like to see addressed is how will this, since it is a portion of the bus circle, what are we expecting timeline to remedy the issue, and how will that impact that area for our students? So that's just an add-on to those things that just came up.
Oh, yeah, let me do that. Well, good evening. My name's Travis with Trace Creek. Appreciate you inviting us to try to explain this to you. So I just recently got involved in your project. You know, Clay was your project manager at the time. So I've reached out to Clay and went back through and found some timelines. So I'm just going to start from the beginning and give you the information that I'm aware of, and then we can go deeper into it. So based on the information I've found, and as Mr. Smith said, This was, there was a proposal request issued in June of 2023. Based on that proposal request, there was pricing submitted on June the 21st of 2023. That pricing was submitted to the design team. The design team asked for some revisions. There was one revision made, then they asked for another revision, and there was not a revised pricing submitted. So based on my investigation and talking with Clay, which I have an email from him, was during the time of June of 2023 through December of 2023, they continued to monitor that wet spot, and it dried up. At a December monthly progress meeting, Clay, and based on his correspondence here, he informed me that there was discussion with the design team, and Mr. Smith was present, and the recommendation, since it was dried up, they thought it was disappeared and wouldn't be an issue anymore, so they decided to close the proposal request and not move forward with it. It wasn't until, and correct me if I misspeak here, we met when Clay was leaving. We met on site May the 13th of this year with Mr. Smith. Clay was on site. Our superintendent, Mike Grayson, and Mr. West, and some others, to get an idea of what was remaining, etc. During that meeting, Mr. Smith brought the wet spot back up again and said, we need to deal with the water situation. After that meeting, we contacted RTA and discussed Mr. Smith's concerns, and we asked Michael to look into it and issue a proposal request for that. So that proposal request was issued, and I'll let Michael go into those details. And then we submitted pricing based on that information. So that gets you from June of 2023 up till where we are now. So I'll let Michael talk about the proposal request, and we can go more into the pricing, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Michael Mays, with civil engineer with Ross Torrent. So when we originally found the spring, the site was under construction. None of the existing improvements were done. The pavements weren't done. Final grading wasn't done. So what we did is come up with a spring box detail. The location of that spring, based on Clay's correspondence, was directly underneath the road, almost underneath the center line of the road. So we came up with a spring box detail and daylighted it, took it to the closest drainage structure, which is the visitor parking lot. That's where the closest drainage structure was. As Clay said, we had a couple back and forth with the contractors to try to, negotiate the price down. After the second round of revise and resubmit, it kind of stopped until December. And then fast forward until earlier this year, the wet spot had come back up. Now it had moved a little bit. It had moved from the middle of the road, which is where you have pavement now, to the grassy area between the bus loop and schoolhouse. So we revised the proposal request because if we utilize the existing drawing, it would have cut through a lot more pavement to end up at that same drainage structure. So what we did is improve the swale between the bus loop and Schoolhouse Road by putting a perf pipe French drain in that location, and then kept the spring box located in the bus loop. We think that's probably the best way to fix the spring at that location. To address your concern, the 95% is to do both parts A and B, because it captures the originally located source of the spring and the wet spot that was seen here recently during the site walk, which is in that swale. Again, with underground water, there's no telling where it may pop up, but based on the information that we have, the underground system, when it gets very inundated, comes out in this location. It's not all the time it happens, just during very wet weather periods. So we only affected a 20-foot by 30-foot swath of the pavement area to try to get that spring box put in, take it immediately into the grass area, and then down towards the drainage inlet just uphill of the bus loop entry.
I believe the second part of your question was time frame and what impact it would have. So the plan was, excuse me, if this change order was approved at the September meeting, we were planning on getting in and doing it over your fall break and having it done, not disrupt your traffic, et cetera. That will not happen now. So depending on if you approve, when we get approval, if you do or don't approve it, I'll have to come back and advise you of when we can get that done. The problem is now with the asphalt plants, we had a little window with them and everybody's pushing to get all their work done. This little patchwork is a headache to them, so they've got to try to get all the bigger projects done. So depending on which direction you decide to go, I will investigate that and report back to Mr. Smith on that.
I just had a couple of questions. So on the paperwork, the current approved amount of $684,000, what's that current approved amount for?
The 654, is that what you said?
It looks like 684. It's just the first number on page 2, sorry.
The current approved amount under construction contingency, is that what you're looking at?
Stand there and tell you, I can honestly tell you what that is. I'm not 100% sure because KDE's form their contingency balance up there runs a little different than what the project balance contingency shows. So that may be the difference there. I'm not 100% sure what that line is, but can advise Mr. Smith and he can report back to you.
Okay, thanks. I just wondered, because, we see a bunch of documents, and it's hard to really kind of keep straight. But the net effect of this change order would be a negative $77,000 to the contingency.
Yes.
And that reflects a fee of $54,000 for the construction manager and $3,800 for the I guess AE is Ross Torrent. And so I guess one of the things we had kind of talked about last month was if this was something that the survey showed was an issue, then before all the concrete was put in, before any of that kind of stuff happened, I guess I was a little bit concerned that we didn't just go ahead and address it at that point. And so we would have been able to avoid the, that's what, almost $60,000 in change order fees. And then, of course, the work and just kind of the breaking everything apart that we just put in and doing the fix. So that was one of the concerns that I had. And I did want to just say to Mr. Smith, thank you for noticing that and bringing it back up. I feel like you did, honestly, the day-to-day in and out work of getting the new high school. So I really appreciate that you saw that again and brought it back up and brought it back to us. So thank you.
And as Sherry mentioned, she's a little bit concerned. I'm a lot concerned. And I would like to know who was responsible for saying, oh, it's dried up, it's not an issue anymore, and making that choice. Because I feel like this is a very large expense that we could do things like building a new parking lot for our high schoolers with that money, or putting a new roof on our middle school, or something of that nature. And now we are faced with an expense of a spring. And if you just do a quick Google search, you can see where springs sometimes will change. So I was just curious as to how that decision was made to go ahead and move forward with the process, to maybe not reroute the original drawing. I wasn't on the board at the time, so I don't know what that process looked like, but maybe reroute where the bus circle was to maybe prevent this long term. Or I don't know, I'm not an engineer obviously or a contractor, but I am very concerned that we moved forward with this with the dice roll of maybe it might dry up, maybe it might not. I mean, we're in Kentucky, we have limestone, we have a cave system. There's lots of things that we're working with here. And I'm sure I shouldn't say sure, but I would think that with shifting of ground and building surfaces, things like that, may also impact this. So I just would really like to have a picture painted of how we went from June 21st, it's a problem, December, it's not a problem, and we're just not going to address it, and we're going to go ahead and move forward with the project. And that's me asking from a board member who wasn't, a perspective that wasn't here before. So I would just love to have some conversation around that, because I do feel like this is a lot of money that we're having to pay for a fix that, as we said, that sometimes water will shift and come up in other places too. So if you all don't care to speak to that, I would really appreciate it.
So, again, and based on the information that I can find and communicating with Clay on it, is from the June until the pricing was received and through December, I don't know when it dried up, but they continued to monitor it, and it dried up. And based on, and what I saw in the meeting minutes is the decision was made at that board meeting with all parties standing here present to close out the proposal request and not move forward with that.
So can I speak to my fellow board members who were present at the time? Was that brought to your all's attention? Were you able to vote on it?
That decision was made at a progress meeting.
Not a board meeting. Okay,
I'm
gotcha,
sorry.
gotcha.
Did I say
Yeah,
board
yeah,
meeting?
yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
I'm sorry.
Because we were all kind of shocked by this, so I was like,
I'm sorry.
that doesn't
Progress
sound right.
meeting. Yeah, it's on-site month, December monthly progress. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say board meeting.
And I can speak to it because I believe Mr. Smith and I were the two who were there.
Yes. So you were present.
So I mean, that was, obviously we were following up on the pricing. We had issues with the pricing at the time, so we'd sent it back twice, clearly. We weren't seeing additional pricing when we were checking in on it, and eventually said, hey, the contractor's been watching this. It's been 6 months now. We really think you should close that out because there's no water. And, at the time, that seemed like a way, a cost-effective way forward for the district. Those of us sitting in the room, that seemed like a reasonable decision. Essentially, we left the meeting as the design team with the direction to close that proposal request out, that we were not going to receive a price for that, and that was that.
So who made that choice?
So so you didn't get a price back then, but now we have a price. And I think what our concern is, the price now is probably more because we have to tear up concrete and do all that. And so as a board, you can tell we're a little defensive of, hey, we didn't even know about this issue when it was cheaper. Now to fix it is more expensive, and that's on us. And I think that's where our, a little bit of a disgruntlement, whatever you want to call it, is. So can you guys talk to that at all, of just maybe some possible solutions on the pricing, or is this what's proposed is what's here, or is there any, negotiation there?
Before we get to that too, I think it's important to know, how do we know that this is the only spring? I mean, it is Falling Springs Boulevard. And I mean, if we do, somebody who knows way more about this kind of thing than I do said, did the architect include a subsurface investigation for the property? If so, we should have seen it. Woodford County should not have to pay for the change order. That's what I'm hearing from my people in my area.
So the project did include a quite extensive subsurface investigation. They will identify surface springs, like anything that is currently bubbling out of the ground. What we did at that site, we did a lot of mass excavation. We removed a lot of bedrock. We did a lot of blasting. Any of that could have changed subsurface conditions as far as water routing through the subsurface karst features of the ground. Additionally, you take the existing soil overburden off of the rock, you're going to see a lot more that was never evident in the first place. So we didn't see this until Trace Creek and the contractors had all of the soil excavated from on site. I was walking with Clay one day and we saw a big wet spot. Hadn't rained, but water was coming out of the ground. And so the water was coming out of about a 2-inch hole in the ground, and that's when we started this process back in 2023.
Well, and I was just going to say, I do understand, very aware that we are, looking back and now like, oh, why didn't we just do it then? And there were literally probably hundreds or thousands of decisions that you all were making at the time and bringing things to us, being very aware of cost savings, and it didn't seem to be a problem. So, I can understand how that decision was made. And so I'm not trying to second guess that, but I would like to know if there is any kind of wiggle room in some of these fees, just because I feel like, we really weren't aware of it at the time. It wasn't really brought to us at the time. So I didn't know if that's just a possibility. You all can kind of think about that and kind of see if we can kind of share some of the responsibility. Or if that's, I just thought I would just throw it out there because I guess it never hurts to ask.
As far as fees go?
Does anybody? Does this need to be a separate conversation, or? I will say we kind of shared this at the last meeting, and when you get into these situations and we as one party feel like, hey, had we known, it would have been cheaper to take care of it, and then you have your side that's obviously the one doing the work and putting this in and figuring out what the fix is, but we do feel like there needs to be some type of additional conversation for this, as opposed to just approving the cost that's been laid before us.
And I agree with that. Like, I feel like, and that's why I asked the question of who made the choice. And maybe that's not a conversation that you're comfortable having right now. Maybe it's something that we need to have more conversation around, but it just, again, wasn't present. I was not present at the time. I know that some of you here were not present at the time, and you're doing your due diligence, and we have a beautiful high school. I don't want to take anything away from that. But I do feel like, especially for our taxpayers, as we balance our budget, as we look at this, this is a significant cost that it seems like it's hard for me to take the language of, well, it just dried up and went away, so out of sight, out of mind, we're just not going to worry about it and we're going to move forward. That seems incredibly problematic when you talk about a major multi-million-dollar construction project, just to roll the dice on that. And as my colleague, Ms. McCowan said, it's Falling Springs Boulevard. We know the lay of the land in Whitford County, and there's a lot of cave and spring systems here. And again, anything can happen. There could be something that pops up under this building tomorrow that's been laying dormant, but we knew about it and did not take the opportunity to act at that point in time when it could have been more cost efficient to remedy the problem. Then now we're saddled with a quite large expense to remedy the problem. Either way, it has to be fixed. We all can come to that conclusion. We're not going to roll the dice again and say, well, maybe when the whole concrete buckles out or the sidewalk or whatever is being impacted by then, we have to be responsible of that. However, I just feel like, and I'm going to be more forward than my colleague, Ms. Springate said, I feel like that some of the cost, the burden of the cost should be on those who saw it and did not advise, because we're paying a lot of money to advise and listen to your all's recommendation. Again, wasn't there present, but I'm assuming that's what that process looked like. And now we have to bear the burden of the cost. I just don't think that's quite fair for us or for our community or for our kids, to be quite fair.
And I think, and if you guys aren't prepared to answer that question, then as far as cost changes, you talked about timeline earlier, and with the weather and winter coming up, this might not even be able to be installed for a while. It sounds like it could potentially even be the spring. So knowing that, and that, I don't know that we're going to come to an agreement here tonight, we may need to, personally may need to not pass this and have some further conversations with your teams about that, unless there's anything else you guys want to share.
Well, I think Trace Creek's position, as far as bearing a portion of the cost, is our position is we're not willing to bear the cost. Now, part of that cost, if you are asking us to look at our KDE fee associated with that, we may be willing to look at a percentage of that. And I can report back to Mr. Smith before the end of the week on that.
Okay.
All right. Now, one thing also with this pricing, as with asphalt, even though it's a small portion, but yet it's a $19,000, and I know that don't sound like a lot, but this subcontractor may come back and say, this was based on 2025 asphalt prices. That all fluctuates. It may be cheaper when based on oil prices. That's what asphalt's based on. It may be cheaper. If it is, then we'll give you back a credit for that. But he may come to me and say, you know what, it's went up. I can't do the asphalt for that now. Just for disclosure, because this was based on being able to get it in and get done and out of here on your fall break, and out so we wouldn't disrupt your traffic flow on that. So I will report back to Mr. Smith by the end of the week, if not tomorrow, if we're willing to do anything on our KDE percentage of our fee, and report back.
So, sorry, I was waiting to see if Mr. Brickler wanted me to weigh in from procedurally how that works now that that's going to happen.
Yep, I would.
So you would vote to not approve the change order as it's written, and then you would direct Dr. Jones and Mr. Smith to have a conversation and come back to you all with a change order that reflects whatever further conversations they have with Trace Creek.
Okay.
I would still like to know who made the choice. Like that's the burden that I feel.
I don't know
that's going to happen.
No, probably not.
But it just seems like it just feels like there's a lot of responsibility. Again, I think we're paying a lot of money as a district, as a taxpayer body, as our community to make these choices. There's a lot of burden on that, and I don't want to belabor this, but I want to appeal that I feel like that there should be a discount, knowing that it was present. But that's just my 2 cents.
All right. Can I have?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to not approve the change order and to direct the superintendent to work with the parties here to come up with a solution.
All right, a motion.
Second.
I have a second by Ms. McCowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have our school safety president. Oh.
Mr. Brickler.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 5-0.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, good call.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Wells.
Good evening. Chief Sutton and I stood up here back in the spring and talked about our school resource officers at the middle school and high school and how we were going to take that over. And we know, understandably, that caused some anxiety for some different reasons. And I think one misconception was that maybe the relationship with the police department was frayed or fractured or whatever. And we've spent some time since then assuring people that was not the case. We've presented on many examples of how our relationship with our local police department is very strong. And tonight we just want to share one additional example of how we've partnered together since some of those previous conversations to improve the safety of our schools. So I'm going to turn it over to Chief Sutton to talk about that.
All right, so each SRO obviously has a school radio where they can communicate directly with school admin. We've always had a Versailles PD radio without getting into technology too much. It's kind of a multi-step process to communicate with them though. So we recently sat down with Chief Young, and I don't want to try to say Dan as his last name, but their dispatch director, to try to work out some things to improve that communication process. So what they did is arrange for us to use their channel 2, in which dispatch has agreed to actively monitor, and they put it in their CAD system, which is electronic, again, not to get into technology, but they know they have our work schedule when we're there, what officers assigned to each school, and these radios have like a electronic signature. So even if we were to get them, let's say for Simmons for an emergency, and I couldn't get out what was going on, when I key that up, they know that Simmons and it's me, and if I need help, that's where they're going to come to. Since we're covering after-school events, that applies as well. So if we work the football stadium, we'll call out, we're at a special detail community stadium, they log that in. So, because the officers could be from all the schools working there, giving you key up, they know that radio is assigned to community stadium for that time being. So again, that provides that direct communication with us. So they monitor us 24 hours a day for us. It's worked well so far. We've had a couple medical emergencies and a fire emergency we've used it for. It's, I think, increased the response time. I had a vehicle fire in front of Simmons. Versailles PD was there within a few seconds, helped me with traffic. Fire department was right there. Instead of trying to get on a different channel or get my phone out, it was instant communication with them. So that's kind of definitely increased that communication level. Same thing, sheriff's offices also can talk to us. At the football and work special events, they've been working with us some. They can communicate with us as well on that same channel. So that's kind of the improvement we've made in that communication process, especially in events. So far, it's been not a hugely emergencies, but I guess, you know, the medical one was very quick. So that's just one thing we've done to kind of improve that. And I'd like to thank Chief Young and Diana for, because again, it's not something they have to do. Their dispatchers are busy, but they've agreed to monitor that for us. And in the event of a bigger emergency, it's a simple push of a button. They can cross-communicate with all of us, kind of like on one channel is the way they explain it. So if we had to have that, it wouldn't be talking back, but me talking to him talking to him, and back to me, it'd be an instant communication.
I have one question about our safety protocol and our relationship with the police department. And I don't want to, I'm just thinking and planning. So if there were a larger kind of an emergency and we are working with our local partners, is there like a document or some kind of a charter or something like that that says, here's who's in charge? If there's this sort of an incident happening at a school, you know, our SROs are in charge, or the Versailles Police Department takes charge. Is there just something in writing so that everybody knows what their
Dr. Jones
roles?
has discussed that same thing with us. We're working on it. It's a little extensive to write overnight. We've talked about it, is in the works. We are the primary law enforcement for the school district. That's just the way it is. We're all employed. There's no sense of since we're smaller. It's like I came from Frankfort PD, which is a pretty good size agency for Kentucky. But let's say there's a serious vehicle accident. All of us can write a report. I've done it for 30 years. But they have laser scanners that could document a scene in seconds. We don't have that. We've bought a few small pieces of equipment that we could use, like, let's be honest, like an alcohol-related incident at the football field, which we didn't cover before. I bought a few of those devices. So since calling them the community stadium, I've got 2 on order. So again, if it's a larger scene, we have to work with them for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as being the primary source of law enforcement, we are in charge of the school district.
Yeah, I get that. I guess what I'm saying, I'm thinking about situation. Yes, like
we would
like
we
a
would turn
bad,
to them for assistance, but we would still be in control unless Dr. Jones
Okay.
has something we absolutely, there's no reason why we couldn't work with them and partner. If it's a mass event, that's common. It's instant command system we've used in all my departments I've been at. It will take some time to get that in actual writing.
Just so everybody knows, like this is.
You've started that.
Yes, we
and
worked
you've
on
shared
one.
the draft with me.
We talked about the active event thing that I talked to you about, to where some of the ones we're trained on, getting that out. It's a little quicker, shorter one, but that would be kind of an extensive thing to cover, again, an immediate answer for that one. But they would have no doubt they'd work with us. We'd work with them. Emergency management also is the same way. It'd be multi-agencies responding to that. So take not just Versailles PD, you're talking Fish and Wildlife, State Police, ABC might show up. I mean, if it was a major event, to be numerous Frankfort PD might even come for us and help out if we needed them. So.
But the call is made by the SRO.
Correct.
That is in the building.
You're my boss, and I run the police department, so it will be us. We'll be the direct one. The officer there, first officer there is the one that's going to be in charge until relinquished otherwise.
I want to say thank you for working on that communication system. I know that's something that I brought up when we were talking about the SRO shift. And so I'm just, as a parent, as well as a school board member and a community member, extremely excited to know that we have that direct line and that has been worked on. So thank you so much for your diligence in working on that.
And I was actually in the drop-off line when that car fire was at Simmons, and so I saw how quickly everyone was moving, and it was out there. It wasn't even close to, the students up by the building, but you guys were working fast. You got the police department and all the emergency vehicles there, so yeah, it worked really well, and I could see it firsthand.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you to, the school board, Dr. Jones, Mr. Wells, Chief Sutton, just for putting student safety at your top priority. I know I addressed it back during the summer, right before school started, about, getting a crossing guard or some type of officer out by where students are walking, parents are going into the middle school, students are coming out of the high school. 17-year-olds are not the most safe behind the wheel of a car. I'm not saying the average parent sometimes makes bad decisions as well, but, the officer that stands there, I'm so appreciative to whoever it is, I don't know his name, but, to whoever who does that every day. I sometimes even make driving mistakes. I am not a perfect driver. But, having him there, I've even had some students say, I'm really glad that officer's there because I think I would run that stop sign. Or, sometimes, it's such a blessing that someone is out there, directing traffic, keeping all students safe. So thank you to all for prioritizing that.
Sure, absolutely. Real quick follow-up on, speaking of the partnership, this past weekend, Versailles had a severe incident outside of Safe Harbor, not going into too much detail. Chief Young reached out to me about 7 o'clock at night. They asked for some video footage which captured some of the event, and we're working on getting that to them. So that goes back to that partnership as well. Our cameras at one of the schools were able to capture some of that, so that goes back to the same partnership of they needed our help that time, and we're glad to help them do that and get that to them to help with their investigation.
Thank you for sharing that.
And so it's Officer Carmichael at the intersection between the schools, and Officer Fortney is at the stop sign on the high school property. But it's a game changer, the radio access, being able to have that instant access. And the conversations haven't started. Like we want to continue to enhance that specific piece. And one last thing on Ms. McCown's question. While that written agreement, we're still working that out. Just want you to know the training is the exact same. Like when they train for the most significant events that we won't get into all the details, but everyone knows what his response is going to be. He knows what their response is going to be. So we're all on the same page when it comes to the response to those events.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Not to that, but something that Millie brought up when we were talking about the SROs, and I just happened to drive by the building the other day and I did not see, so I just wanted to ask, where are we about getting the numbers, like the windows numbered and those areas at the new high school? Do you guys know?
To my knowledge, the high school has done some internal numbering themselves. The company that originally did that, I have to dig in. I'm not sure if they're even still in business. It's called Exaction, a former Frankfort police officer and Franklin County deputy. I'm not even sure if he is even in that business anymore. So that's something we have to even look into. It was a trademark business, so it's also some licensing stuff with him. We'd have to really look into that to see if he's even available. Again, he may have closed that business. He was working at the place who helped decal our cars. He's left there too, so that'd be something we'd have to look into.
But this is just numbers, right? Like,
yeah, they have exterior. I saw like a nice hive number. Yep.
the windows. Okay. So that, I guess my other question was, is that something that we need to talk about, like funding, or has that already been funded to be able to put those decals on the windows? Awesome. Okay. So, but the cost is already accounted for. We're just waiting on getting it completion. And do we have a timeline for the completion of it? Because I feel like that's something that's pretty important. Shane, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I was over there the other day, and I noticed several doors had it. I think door 10 I saw for sure had that little hive honeycomb, so it made even school aesthetics look good. I did see some of the day I was at the high school for an instant. I was over there for it. So no summer done.
Well, I was talking about the windows on the outside, because you know, if you go by most of the schools now, that there's windows, not even just in our district, but in others. And I know Millie brought that up at one point in time about the windows being numbered.
If you don't have a timeline, as soon as you have a timeline, could you share that with us, or share it with Dr. Jones, and then Dr. Jones could share it with the board if you do get a timeline on those windows?
I do think Officer Fortney, he has talked to me about it, that he is in the process, but we will get a timeline to the board.
Thank you all so much.
Anything else? All right. Next, we have our curriculum and instruction technology update. Dr. Rayburn.
All right, board, good evening. Tonight, our curriculum and instruction update is going to be provided by me. The curriculum and instruction team I do support them, and so this is my update that has been asked for by the board members in the past, and so we thought that this would be a good time to take advantage of a need. So what I'm about to share with you is a lot of information, just so that you all have it. But it'll also be available to you afterwards, so you can email me or schedule time to discuss. The first thing that I want to say is we do have a campaign going for cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is heavily involved with technology. While technology is not necessarily the school device that they're using, it is their personal devices that we don't have control over for students. And so it is a community event, not just a school issue in a school community. It's a whole community. So I just put some little tidbits on here for everybody to read that's watching or may watch this later. You know, the first thing to do is stop. Don't reply back. In the event of a cyberbullying incident, stop and don't reply back. The next thing is to save the screenshots and block the individuals that are currently doing the cyberbullying. Taking a screenshot puts a timestamp on the evidence for that, so that if there is an issue with school, that we can help mitigate that when in school. A lot of this happens outside of school, which makes it a little bit harder because we don't have the ability to necessarily take that into our control, but we can help support and provide services to students that need that. And then to seek help. Don't assume that you have to do this alone. Tell a trusted adult. And we do have proper protocols in place for that. But there is a whole plan that's being placed, like Dr. Jones mentioned in her report. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Like, we do have stop, save, and get help on that. So the technology staff consists of myself, the Chief Information Officer, a network administrator, a SIS administrator, which is our systems information systems. That is Infinite Campus. That person is over all of the things Infinite Campus related. Any reports that we ask for or anything along those lines that report to the state, they handle that. We have 4.5 district technicians currently. 2 of them support the elementary school, Safe Harbor and WVLA. And then we have 1 for the middle school and 1 for the high school. And then we repair all of our Chromebooks in-house. And so that is where our half-time technician is currently. We do have on the books more, but due to budget constraints, Dr. Jones and I have met, and we are not hiring those other positions until we review the budget. So those were vacated due to retirement and a leave. And so we decided to not renew those until we had budget talks. We also have 7.5 Infinite Campus attendance clerks at every building. Every building has one, including Safe Harbor. That is the half-time position that handles also all the alternative education, which includes WVLA, home hospital, and some special education. Our 2 digital learning coaches, which is Erica and Sandy, who you presented your awards to, and then I have an administrative assistant for my department. That is the technology staff. Seems rather large, but you're getting ready to find out all that we do. We are not just a curriculum. We're not just operations. We walk right down the middle of the lane and do everything to keep the building going. As you know, on August, when the internet went down, things don't work when the internet's not working. So I know Ms. Springate asked a while back about our Chromebook refresh, and a while back may have been a few years ago. I don't even remember how long it's been, but this is our Chromebook refresh. Every second grader has a device that remains in the second grade. So every new second grader gets that same device until it's time to refresh that device. A device lasts us about 6 years total. And so with this cycle, we do 5 years in the classroom, 1 year as a loaner program, and then we surplus it at that point. So 3rd grade gets a brand new device. That 3rd grade device goes with them all the way through 6th grade. At the end of 6th grade, we recycle those down to kindergarten, and then 7th grade gets a brand new device. And then 7th grade uses it through 9th grade. After 9th grade, we rotate that down to 1st grade, and then 10th grade gets a brand new device. That 10th grade device carries with them when they graduate. So we don't keep that device after graduation as of current right now. So I wanted to provide you with some historical things that we have done since spring break of this year. Spring break was a horrible time for us. That was when Mr. Tuttle passed away. Right in the middle of that move, we were moving our data center from Pisgah Pike to here. That includes taking the internet down for the entire week and moving all of our equipment. And so during that time, we also switched our phone service from AT&T to Clearly IP, saving the district about $600 a month. We updated all of our Metronet connections. Metronet is our internet service provider. Actually, it's Kentucky Department of Education. They provide our internet, but we lease out the fiber lines from each building so that the fiber can come to our building, and then we can distribute it out to all of our buildings within the district. So Metronet actually doesn't provide us the internet. They provide us the fiber line that goes to our building. We also closed out adult education over the summer since we no longer own that building, and that's now sitting at KCTCS, so we don't pay for that internet subscription, nor do we pay for 330 Pisgah. We are using a cellular device to maintain security there. And so that is maintaining what we needed to do and so forth. The The next thing that we did over the summer is we refreshed 900 plus new devices for teachers and students. Our last Chromebook purchase was about 915 for students. All of those went to our 3rd graders, 7th graders, and 10th graders. And then we bought some new staff devices to cycle out some of the old ones. We had about 400 broken repairs that we had to fix over the summer. A broken repair can be anything from a screen not working to a keyboard popped off. Every summer we cycle through those, check every single device, and make sure that they're working properly so that students can come back to school with a working device. We don't want any student getting a broken device back at the beginning of the year. We ask them to report it at the end of the year, and then that gives us a queue, but we then go and check every single device. So we're checking 4,500 devices every single summer to make sure that they're working, and some do slip through the crack, but you know, it's just the way it is. And then at the beginning of the year, we distributed 5,000 devices between new staff members, new devices, and all the kids. We collect all of their devices at the end of summer. We store them in our little hotel room, and then we give them back to them after they've gone to the vacation beach house and gotten refreshed, because we all need a little refresh over the summer. So the other thing that we've done is we've transitioned our internet content filter from Lightspeed, which was provided by the state, this is still provided by the state, to now GoGuardian Admin. That was in my report to you all in July. I provide a written report every July to the board about our internet safety and cybersecurity. It is a written report because I can't go into great detail about it, but you all have access to that. I also hired a new network administrator in July. And then we worked with finance to get Parent Square Pay up and running so that we can collect fee collections through Parent Square instead of Infinite Campus, which has had its little hiccups. It's not perfect, nothing is, but it is a process that's actually getting fees and trips paid for that in the past would sit idle and not get paid. So we also have replaced several disks on servers that have failed. When we transitioned over to here, we noticed that there were several servers that were failing in disks, so to provide that need to replace those disks, we've been replacing those disks as time has come on. And each disk could take 24 to 48 hours to fully repair. So every time we repair a disk, that's literally a hard drive that we're shoving into a server in our data center to repair that. As you may be aware, and if you aren't aware, Windows 10 is no longer supported from Microsoft, and so if you haven't done your personal devices, please take the time to do that, because now you're at a security, you're very vulnerable to security and hacking because they don't provide any security updates. And so we've had to take about 135 devices. We're still sitting on Windows 10 in our district, and we had to update those to Windows 11. And just so you know, we had 2,300 tickets that we closed from August 1st until today. I ran that number today. And we have 270 plus that we're in the queue working on right now. That is everything. Anytime a teacher or a staff member or anybody asks us to do something, we ask them to put it in a help desk ticket so that we have data to support what we're doing. And so from August till now, 2,300 tickets we've closed. Just like maintenance also collects their data so that we can see what everybody's doing. It just gives us nice little numbers to report, but it also keeps us a historical data so that we can see device history on everything we've done to that device. 2,300 also includes Chromebook repairs, device repairs, something's not working in their room, they can't get onto Infinite Campus, those type of things, that includes that as well. Some of our upcoming goals for the year, surprise, Ms. Preston and Mr. Culbertson are getting new wireless access points that'll be coming sometime in the next month. We work with a third-party vendor that's part of our E-rate funding, which is money from the federal government that helps to subsidize our connectivity. And so we can use that money to offset some of the costs that we have. We get a 70% reduction in all of our cost for that program. And then they come on site and they install it. No school is going to go down. We literally take one access point off the wall, put the new one up, and move to the next room. Nobody is going to do it, and we do it after hours. And then we're continuously maintaining our servers. A lot of our servers are outdated, and so we're upgrading those as possible. And the state has provided us what they're calling the CUES project, which is Connective User Experience, which basically takes the ability for all of our data that goes into Munis, which is our human resources side, and all of our Infinite Campus data. And anytime anybody gets put into that system, now they get a new email address that's created. We've had a system similar to this for about 3 years now that does account automation. but this will be paid for by the state, so we're going to save a little bit of money there. But it does provide, once a person leaves, their account is no longer active, and a lot of the districts that have had some email address problems, it's because they have an open email address from years ago that they don't realize is still open, and so somebody hacks into that system, finds the email address, and now they're sending out to all of our listservs on all over the state. Our most recent one was that there was an email that came across that had payroll notification voicemail, and so people thought, oh, that means that somebody's calling me about my payroll, and it was basically you click the link and then you put in your information, and now you're hacked and all your information's taken from you. So cybersecurity is something that's very important to us. When those come in, we instantly delete them from our server and block those from our listserv so that can't happen. And anybody that has clicked the link, we instantly change their password so that they can hopefully not get into our system. And so having this automated system where the moment they're inactive in Munis, they no longer have an email address, or they have a certain offloading time after that to transition to a new job or wherever they're going, or into retirement to their next phase to get their stuff off, but at a certain point that account's no longer active, is what the state is trying to do for every district. And so we're the first group to go. They had a pilot group, and then we're the first cohort. So we've done a lot of data cleanup over the last 2 months for that. So that was the technical side. Now we have our Infinite Campus side. So Infinite Campus clerks all report to me under and they're my employees. And so over the summer, they've processed 2,400 online enrollment applications, and 440 of those have been new applications. That's not including any of those that have left and they've had to transfer their transcripts to the new schools. Our Infinite Campus clerks do a lot on top of making sure that attendance is posted every single day. And they do a lot of data. A lot of what they do is data cleanup and data validation, because everything that we pull from for students come from Infinite Campus. It goes to our third-party vendors that allows the students to do that. And if it's not correct in Infinite Campus, it's not correct on the third-party app. So I put a little diagram down there just so you could kind of see like everything comes from Infinite Campus. And so there's been a lot of training in my department on how that all works. And with staff as well. And so it could take anywhere from 48 hours from a new student to get access to all of the programs. We don't control when the third party accepts our data from Clever or from another program. We don't control that, but they do it when they do it. And just so you know, we're 99.6% contactable through Parent Square. So that means we have 99.6. There's 13 people that we are diligently trying to get information on that do not have the ability to accept an emergency call from the district or whatever through Parent Square or get any kind of updates. So that is our job of our Infinite Campus clerks who make those changes. And then if you really want to know, here's some more data for you. This is our, and I'll share this with you so you don't have to, but this is our as of June 6, 2025, all of our Parent Square information. So 54,000 direct messages have been sent to parents through Parent Square. And then there's other things here. So that's the Infinite Campus side. Now we'll go down the instructional side of the road. GoGuardian Teacher, which is what we use to see computer screens for students. We've had Hapara for many, many years. When the state purchased GoGuardian Admin, they gave us a deal that we could purchase GoGuardian Teacher, which in my opinion is a far superior program, at a significantly reduced price. So we were able to save money through switching to GoGuardian Teacher from Hapara. It's just taking some instructional learning on the teacher side of it to get it going. Our middle school and high school students are in their first full year of Canvas. Last year was a middle where they could choose between Canvas or Schoology. And then we purchased for the district, from the district level, the Pear Deck Learning Suite, which is an interactive, engaging program that does the instructional side, it does the practice side, and then does the assessment side. So I put on here just a little bit of the data that I pulled. We've had 530 interactive, engaging slide presentations. That would be a teacher giving a presentation. The student can interact with that presentation on their Chromebook, answer questions, give the feedback to the teacher, and the teacher can then go back and assess the student right there with formative assessments. And then pair practice is I'm going to use a time for like going in and doing a recap or a review. I'm going to use this as a gamification model, but then every question that the student gets wrong, it then uses AI to help practice and make their learning a little bit better. So the teachers upload their presentation or their slides, and then they use AI to go back and practice. So we've had 50,000 minutes of practice in that program since August. And then we've given almost 3,000 exams through pair assessment as well. So it is well worth its money. It's a little expensive, but it is something that as a whole package, it's hard to break it all down. We pay for Go Guardian Teacher, Go Guardian Beacon, Pear Deck, Pair Practice, and Pair Assessment all together. And it's about $60,000 for the entire thing. Pair Beacon is what I didn't put on here. Beacon is our safety check. So if anytime a student sends a message that is self-harm related, our mental health specialists, our counselors, our principals all get annoying emails until they click on it to get help for that student. And it uses AI to not track, but to alert based off what that student did. So sometimes it will pull in the counselor's emails where they put suicide hotline, it'll say that the student's researching it. It doesn't send an alert for that one, but it does. We've had several alerts where they have been active, and Jill Hargis has had to make phone calls because of that. So we've had Go Guardian Beacon for many years, and so it was nice to get that at a reduced price as well.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that? So if I understand correctly, it's monitoring their searches as well. Like, so if they search suicide hotline or something of that nature, or maybe attempt options. What about AI? Is it monitoring chat at all, or any
It
of that?
monitors everything they do on the Chromebook.
So if they access chat or any AI and type in a question, it'll ping?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That's good
so
to know.
anything they type into their Chromebook or comes up even in comments on YouTube videos, sometimes it'll tag it just as a comment. And so it provides a screenshot of the student, what they did with the website, what time they did it, and allows the mental health specialist to get in there and to get with that student to see if there was an issue. And it's 24/7. It doesn't stop. So the schools handle it during the day, and then there's an overnight team that handles it at the nighttime. So it's a pretty powerful thing, and it protects the students. But it only does it on their Chromebook. It won't do it on their personal devices. Our digital learning coaches, just for your reference, have given about 107 PDs. That's about, because that's about where we came up with 107 PD hours to our schools and to our teachers, and have taught about 100 co-taught lessons side by side with teachers. They do everything from 3D printing. Lego has a new science kit that they have to get kids interested in science. So we purchased a classroom set that they go around and co-teach with them. The teachers, we also have Amplify Science that they're working on. And so these are just a few things. Lego Brick Cues, it's another, getting kids thinking about math in different ways. That's what they do. Reading Progress, I shared a year ago, I believe, where it's using AI to track the reading. Most of our elementary schools are using that. Our EL teachers are using it, and now our world language teachers are starting to use it. And so that's just some of the things that they do. There's 3 pages of stuff. And so the other thing that we are focusing on is our cohorts. So every teacher is a part of a cohort. And for technology, we're using artificial intelligence. I'm leading that one. Erica's leading 3D printing. And then demonstrations of learning through technologies by Sandy is taking care of that one. And these are 6 hours over the course of the year that teachers will get as part of their professional growth plan. This is a little cool thing. So I didn't put a lot of pictures, but I did put this picture. So I'm going to geek out for just a moment. Bamboo Lab is a very nice 3D printer. They make 3D printers. And so additive manufacturing is one of the top things that we are producing in Kentucky. And if you haven't seen, Somerset just started 3D printing a house. And at the Somerset location through the KCTCS program, you look it up on the internet, it's really cool to see this big machine going around in a circle, printing concrete layer by layer. So it works the same way. But Bamboo Lab has rolled out and they are an international company, by the way. So Bamboo Lab is rolled out these things that are called cyber bricks. They partnered with CAD Class. I'll get there in a second. CAD Class is a curriculum that we have purchased for students to learn 3D printing. We use it with an engineering class and our elementary ones. And so they have sent us enough for our engineering students to go through the curriculum. Bamboo Labs sent us all of those for free so that we could get feedback for their curriculum that they're trying to roll out. So what the students have done is they've printed all their parts, and now they're programming this robot to accept the commands that are coming from the controller to manipulate and do different things. And this directly relates to manufacturing, because if you've ever been inside a Toyota site visit that they do tours, and they have what they call the Big Bird, and it basically takes the car from the first level robot, lifts it up to the second level and places it on the second level chassis and continues on down the line. That's essentially what our students are learning all about right here through this program. And this was a gift to us for giving them the feedback. So we have enough for our engineering class to do that, and that was just one of the pictures. So they had to print the files, and now they're working on trying to build all these different motors and making it manipulate through that. Yeah. And then we also have our Technology and Innovation Academy. This is 9 teachers, 1 from each elementary school, 2 from the middle school and high school, 2 from each of those, and 1 from Safe Harbor. They get 6 half-day professional learning activities, and we've had 2 of them so far. We did Breakout and Legos, and then CAD class and 3D printing was our last one. They get lunch, and we've had our lunch sponsored by Vivacity, which is our Chromebook sponsor, was the first one, and then CAD class sponsored our second one, because we're trying to get our lunches sponsored so it doesn't impact the district finances. All right, that's it. So that's 4 years in the making for you, Ms. Springate.
I was just going to take a moment to brag on you. The technology department has always been just a real highlight, I think, in Woodford County, and so I really always appreciate that. But it's nice to have the slides and the data to back it up. I did have a couple things. One, can we have the slides attached to the agenda so anybody that wants to see it could go back, and we could go back later and see it too if we have questions?
It'll also be on the board brief.
Perfect. And then the second thing was, I really appreciate how you listed the positions, and then you listed the number of students, and you listed the replacements schedule that we're going to be doing. Just a couple of things. I wondered, Dr. Jones, if we couldn't get a listing of the positions, or just the number of positions, the number of students kind of served, and then the budget for maybe the past 5 years, just for the technology department. So it would have like those 3 pieces of information if anybody else wanted something added.
Just technology?
Well, I mean, honestly, I would like for all the departments, but yeah, technology, just to start, just so that we can kind of look at that historic information and kind of have an idea about what that looks like. And then if there's anything unusual that happened, like I know we went a number of years and didn't replace, so that you might just make a little note. Or if we had the 1 year where we replaced all of them and started the program for the entire,
Yeah,
schools,
so that would have
maybe to
happened
make a note
during
there.
ESSER funding. ESSER funding kickstarted the K-12 replacement program.
Yeah, so if you
with
just
that.
make a note so that we would kind of understand, oh, that's a big jump because we were just doing the high school and now we're doing, whatever.
Yeah.
Just something like that would be very, I think, helpful just to kind of get in our mind what the trends look like. So thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah. Thank you
All
for
right,
sharing
thank you.
all of that. And I will say also, because I know a lot of people think of AI, I really appreciate that you and your team are leaning into it and using it for, moving us forward. And, some people are just afraid of it, but it's not going anywhere. And technology and AI and everything is something that all of our students are going to utilize. And so we have to lean into it. And so I really thank you for not only sharing it here, but also just as you're promoting the technology departments.
Yeah, just so we're clear, I did not use AI to create this presentation.
I mean,
I promise. I really did not.
One thing along the lines of, and this is just like a planting a seed for further conversation along the lines of what Mr. Brickler was just saying. I think, and having a conversation with my own child about ethical use of AI, as a college professor, I run across this and we've had conversations about AI all the time. But I would really love to see, as we move forward with some of these programmings, to kind of get above the curve of, I don't know what other districts are doing, but to be able to teach our students how to ethically use AI to continue to boost critical thinking, but use it as a tool just as we do other calculators or, you know, a Google search or something of that nature. So they are on the right path to be able to incorporate AI in a way that does not retract from their learning experience, but just adds to it, makes it more robust, but also with the training wheels as well, especially around the mental health. And I know we've talked about that as well, but that might be something that actually comes through the legislative session coming up about the mental health and AI risks. But I do think that having planting those seeds, even in our elementary schools, about how to effectively use AI as a tool and not use it to do your work 100%. Having that balance, I think, would be really, really good. And I think that might be something innovative for us to do.
The calculator at one point was the scary technology.
Yes, and now it's in our pockets, right?
All right. Thank you very much.
But thank you for all you do. You guys are doing great work.
All right. I don't think we have any public comment. So can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Wilson.
Second.
Second by Ms. McCowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Can I have a motion to accept notification of personnel matters?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wilson.
Second.
Second by Ms. McCowan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September board meetings?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wilson.
Second.
Second by Ms. McCowan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, myself. Motion passes 5-0. Can I have a motion to accept notification of payment of bills?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wilson.
Second.
Second by Ms. McCowan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-1. Can I have a motion to approve the September financial report, treasurer's report?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. McCowan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wilson. And we'll open it up for Mr. Smith.
So in front of you is the September FY26 General Fund Monthly Recap document that I've been providing for the last several months. So the revenues for September were $1,278,878.02. The expenditures were $3,004,268.36. Of that, the breakdown for salary and benefits is $2,631,311, which is 88% of the total expenditure. And the non-salary and benefit was $372,956, which is 12% of the total expenditures. And we just wanted to point out there, you know, typically our salary and benefit breakdown is somewhere closer to the 80% mark. So that just shows you how we're trying to cut out non-salary and benefit expenditures. And so that ratio has sort of skewed outside of what we have done traditionally. There's the pie chart of those expenditures. And then I just wanted to give you just a cash collection breakdown at the bottom through September for the month. So, you know, we get some SEEK dollars and we get some other monies that trickle into the general fund from July 1 through September 30th. But these are the cash needs that are over and above our collections during that period. We have a debt service payment of $1.5 million, and then the other general fund expenditures so far are $4.9 million for a total cash requirement above collections of $6.4 million during that period. Okay. What questions do you have for me about the remaining financial documents?
I don't really have a question, but I did want to note that I liked the, I'm not sure what it was called. Hold on. Yeah, that document. Yeah. Yeah, really like having that information.
So I've provided that document since July 1. That's our breakdown by department that you've asked for. That's the closest way. Like, there's no way for me to go into Munis and say, give me the budget by departments, right? So we code everything, classify everything by projects. the projects most closely represent the department. So, you mentioned the technology department. So all the various departments are laid out in that, technology, finance, curriculum, instruction. There's a board, a couple of you have asked questions in the last couple weeks about the board activities. What's that number made up of? And so those are the things like the property liability insurance, the things that the board pays on behalf of the district to operate, tax collection fees, just those big overall general expenditures that the district needs. So that's what makes up that for the most part.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I was just commenting, I emailed Mr. Smith because I had a question about the way that some of the items looked like they were negatives, and he said that the projects that have negative balances usually also have revenue codes associated with them. So those are recorded as credits, and the credits look like negatives because that was throwing me off. And I
It's
also
always scary.
It
when
is.
you see that, yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted,
Yeah.
in case anybody else came upon that, that's what I learned.
Yeah, that's a good question. Some of these projects do have revenues associated with them. So like Medicaid reimbursements and some of the other reimbursements, there's a revenue line in there. And the revenues in Munis or most accounting systems are recognized as credits. Credits are negatives. And so when you see those negatives, they're almost always, I'm not going to say you might never see a negative that's truly a negative expenditure, but I think that holds true in just about all cases on this document. So.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor of approving September financial report, treasurer's report?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Can I have a motion to approve the salary schedule modification? Motion by Mr. Wilson,
Second.
second by Ms. McCowan. Any other discussion or questions? You want to just give us kind of a highlight of what this is?
Yes, so that modification is a $500 stipend request to administrate a regional or district tournament that is hosted at either our high school or our middle school, and I suppose any other school that would potentially ever have such an event. From my understanding, we probably only host these events once every 3 to 5 years. But it is a lot of work, understandably, and so I was requested to have that put on the salary schedule. So that's what that's reflective of. And I put the request for this particular time was two people wanted to split those administrative duties, and so I just kind of put the wording in there that it could either be one $500 stipend or two $250, or essentially however the breakdown needed to be. But that's what the request is for.
So this would be giving somebody funds that are organizing the event, the district or regional tournament that we would be holding.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And who would this person be, and what's encompassed in that time frame for them? Like where's the limitations between what like our coaching staff may do for this versus the administrative person versus a parent or guardian volunteer? Like what is this consisting of, I guess, is my question.
Tyler, you want to?
Yeah, so when we host the district tournament, of course, all teams from the district play. There's a lot of supervision and game management duties that go into teams that aren't Woodford County. So Collins and Shelby County could be playing each other. We still have to host that game to facilitate that game. So this kind of extends beyond the duties of any administrator or game management staff that we would have. The goal of this is that this would be paid out of the revenue from that tournament, and would not hit the books of the district or the school at all. We would just pay that out prior to distributing the funds to those communities.
Well, I guess my question is, and I was at the Shelby Collins game, working the gate, by the way. What does that look like when you say administrator? Is that the SRO officer that's there? Is it the AD that's there at the game? Who is considered the administrator? And do those, because all those people have a role, the coaches have a role. Who is the administrator? I guess is what I'm asking.
School athletic directors fulfill that role, so it extends beyond that stuff that we already allow them just for those games that are not Woodford County games.
And is that them being present? I guess my question is what what exactly does that $500 entail that they're, and the reason why I'm asking this is I don't want to take away from an extra duty that someone's doing, but, so I'm trying to tread lightly because that's not what I'm getting at, I guess. But I also want to be protective of the funds that our athletics generate from those gate fees as well. And I know that KHSA, that acronym, Kentucky High School Schools, what am I trying to say? Thank you, the athletics, that, you know, they set the gate prices and that sort of thing. So what is that, where does that leave our athletics that are maybe gaining some value from those gate prices and hosting those district games? Okay.
So we don't finish with anything, we just disperse the remaining funds.
That does make sense. I guess my question is, how will the $500 impact that? And is that, again, with the duties of that, is that what additional duties does that have put on the person who maybe paid this $500, as well as what does that look like as far as, because if I understand correctly, don't school officials who come to the games and are working that get an extra fee, get paid extra to be present at those games?
Our SROs or any gate workers would be paid an hourly stipend, and that's already in the salary schedule, but it would be paid out of that tournament expenses. Our ADs do get a stipend to do their normal duties. Most of those do relate directly to Woodford County High School. So again, this is just kind of that extending to the same duties that it takes to run a game for the games that aren't necessarily have our students or our spectators.
So are you saying that, I'm sorry to ask so many questions, but I just want to make sure I understand.
I'm sorry to
No, go ahead, go
You
ahead.
hit your mic.
And I've heard you bring this up before too, and Ms. McCowan does a great job of asking questions before the meeting so that they can have time to prepare an answer. And, you know, and I think that would be helpful in the future if we have these type of questions that can help everybody. We ought to be able to get that to them so they'll have an opportunity to do the research and answer it.
Well, and I completely agree with that, and I'm sorry I'm asking all these questions. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Well, no, I think I didn't realize exactly what the stipend was going toward, and that's why I have all the
Oh, I
questions.
understand.
So I'm
just-
sorry.
No,
for
I'm
taking
just
time.
trying to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because I know we
agree.
ask a question during the presentation, and we had 4 people just staring at each other.
Right,
Because they didn't know how to answer it.
right, right.
And I know that puts them in a difficult situation.
It does, and I think that it's important to note that we do ask those questions for the people that are watching this too, because sometimes they don't see it, like, why didn't they ask
Yeah.
that? Why didn't they discuss it? And I think that Ms.
Yeah.
McCowan does a great job of saying, I emailed this question and this is the response that I got. So, and I did email a question to Mr. Smith about that, and he responded to me.
I would just wait a little to I specifically talk about gate workers. I think it may be more of event workers. So like if we are hosting a Woodford County basketball game, we can typically get volunteers to work our clock. It's harder to get people turned out to work like the clock for Shelley versus Collins. So we are able to pay stipends for that for the event workers for those kind of games that aren't necessarily our students in our schools. So it kind of equates along those lines, just to continue to be able to support our people that are turning up to run these events, because we are Woodford County hosting them, but necessarily not in their normal schedule.
Well, and I guess that as a parent who's worked the district tournament recently, I did a lot of concession shifts as well as worked the gate a couple different times. I don't think parent volunteers or guardian volunteers ever expect that's part of your kid being on the team. You pay that out in your volunteer hours in a lot of ways to make sure the team runs smoothly and that sort of thing. So I don't think that's so much of the issue. I guess my concern with our budgets being as tight, this is another cost. I want to make sure people are effectively compensated for their time on the other side of that. So I was just curious of what that breakdown, like how do you determine who gets that fund, if it goes directly to the AD, or if it's, hey, we had a teacher that came and they worked the clock for us and they get, $100 for their time. And then we had, I guess that's my question. Is it all going in one lump sum to one person because they're facilitating everything? Or is it those individual people who have volunteered, not necessarily volunteered as a parent, but our school staff in some capacity who are staying there longer, working extra hours? I do think that they should be compensated for their time. So I'm guessing, is it all $500 to each person, or is it $500 is distributed across people who may be there being spent extra time? Is that additional cost on top of what they get as a stipend to begin with, or is it just going straight to our IDs? What does that breakdown look like?
The way the salary schedule modification is there would be one $500 stipend per tournament, if you will, either regional or district tournament.
And that would get divided?
That would be up to the principal and the athletic director at the given school's discretion. If they wanted to split it 2 ways, 3 ways, that would be up to them, but it would be one $500 total. From my understanding, for the tournament that they're getting ready to host, they're going to split it amongst 2 people to share that, so it'd be $250 for each person, and they're going to share those administrative duties that Mr. Reed's referencing about that particular tournament.
Okay, that clarifies that. Thank you, I appreciate it. Sorry to ask a bunch of questions to get to that answer. I feel like
Well, I do think discussion is important and should be had in open meetings, so I do appreciate the questions. I did just want to clarify, so we have a ton of district and regional tournaments each year, right, with different sports?
Yes, we hosted boys soccer, girls soccer, and volleyball this fall.
Okay, and then so how many district and regional tournaments are we talking about, in a school year?
It again varies. Our region sets that rotation. So if we are moving to 5 teams, 7 years, we will be on 5 rotations.
What about the WCI or those specific tournaments like that?
So that's outside of this stipend. Those are completely hosted by the sport. So all that revenue goes directly to the leagues.
And then the other thing, it does say, there is a line that says, the cost would come from the general fund unless the tournament entity allowed for a reimbursement to the district. So do we know if the tournament entities, which I guess is KHSAA, if it's regional and district tournaments, do they allow for reimbursement to the district?
Yeah, so yes, and I only put that on there just in the event Mr. Reed referenced earlier that the idea is that we host a tournament and we take in the gross ticket sales, and then before we do the split to the other schools that are attending in that tournament, we would deduct the operating costs for the district, which those operating costs would be that $500 stipend, and then we would distribute the residual to the other schools, if that makes sense.
It does.
Pay us first to host the tournament, and then distribute the residual.
So can we take that it would come from the general fund out if it sounds like they do allow it to come from the tournament?
The only reason I put that in there is because, we had a discussion about this a couple weeks ago with Mr. Johnson and Mr. Reed. There could be a situation that comes up with some of these tournaments, and it just depends on who the host sponsor is, that it could be something that we might not be allowed to do what we're talking about here with paying that stipend out of. And so I just wanted to put that in there to give us the leeway if that event happened, that we can pay that stipend out, if that makes sense.
Okay, so we're covering all the bases. So there could be situations where we get reimbursed, we don't have the $500, or there could be a situation where it does need to come out of the general fund for this, to pay the extra organizers for these district and regional tournaments.
Yes.
Okay.
With the normal situation being, as prescribed earlier, gross ticket sales, pay the stipend, distribute the residual. So.
And to be clear, this is not just the organizers. These are other people that may be also contributing to running of the event. And that will be, and I guess I want to advocate for that to happen, that it takes a small village to run one of these district events. I want to be clear about that. And that those people who are in our staff who are contributing that they get also compensated as part of that. That's just my advocacy point. I know I have no control over that, but I just want to mention it.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that. Mr. Reed mentioned it, you know, within our salary schedule, we do allow for if somebody's working a gate or whatever, whatever, to be able to pay them for those activities. This specific stipend is just for this particular person is going to be the home field administrator. They're going to coordinate all the activities.
All the other teams
yes.
Yeah, right.
All that. And so that's what this is for specifically, and there would just be one per tournament.
So we're kind of going back to that previous conversation of that this looks like it's probably falling more athletic directors and people that are on the front end, not so much the people that are doing the work at the game, like the clock example. Is that correct? So because that kind of goes back to...
That's my understanding. My understanding is it's the person that's going to administrate the tournament.
I'd like to make a motion that we not approve this recommendation until we have some additional information lining out what it is we're approving exactly. Who is eligible?
We already have a motion on right now.
So there's a motion on the table,
Yeah.
so the way to do that now would be to vote nay.
Okay, perfect. And I just want to say too, in regards to this, my only issue is that I know that there are other areas of extracurricular activities, clubs, organizations, and folks who spend a great deal of time outside of you know what you would normally expect that do not receive stipends. So I want to be careful that we are not being selective and saying this is worthy of a stipend, this is worthy of a stipend. That's not. So I just would like to get a better understanding of that.
And maybe just have a discussion in the future about where we're doing stipends might be helpful, just to have a big picture.
I don't remember who made the motion.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was second, so we're here. What I will say, and I know we're about to vote, but I haven't said anything about this. I mean, this is something above and beyond a normal sporting event that people do already get paid for. Everyone would still get paid for. This is just an additional $500 stipend for individuals to run a bigger event that may or may not even have Woodford County involved. So to me, this does not seem like a big ask. And I don't know, I think we've dug deeper into this than we have on other bigger issues. But I think this just makes sense that we're asking a staff member to do above and beyond, host a bigger tournament, organize with other schools, other organizations. Here, $500 does not seem out of the ordinary for this. So I understand there are other things, and we need to be careful that we're not trying to micromanage how everything is done, especially with an amount like this. So that's what I'll say on my piece. But
Well,
call a
and
vote.
I don't
So
think it's micromanaging. I think it's just clarification.
Because we've talked about this for a while.
Well, can I ask one question?
All those in favor of approving the salary schedule modification? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion fails 2-3. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the shortened school day, shortened school week?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. McCowan. I will second it. Any discussion on that?
No.
Responses here? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Can I have a motion to approve creation of position?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. McCowan. I'll second it. Any discussion or questions on the creation of position?
I did just have the same request that I had for the tech department. If we could just kind of get a listing of the number of positions, the number of students served, and the budget for the past 5 years or so for the special education department, I think that would be helpful too in looking at trends.
All right. Any,
We can do that. We have that.
if you could just, I believe this one is mandated by law, but if you could just give a high-level overview of this new position.
So if a student, if you were within a grade level of certification from K through 6th grade, you can only, in the state of Kentucky, have 15 students on your caseload. If you are in 7th and up to grade 14, then you can have up to 20 students on your caseload. So we are required at 15 to do something. We are about to cap out at Southside with the number of teachers we have. So we are going to have to do something there to make sure that they are covered. That is one location, and we may be looking at coverage in another location as well, given move-ins and new referrals and things like that.
What happens when those numbers change? So Southside may be in that situation now, but they may not be in that situation next year. So what happens to those people that are hired and may not need them any longer?
So in that event, which has not occurred while I've been here 9 years, it just keeps going up, and we have had to add based on numbers. We would look at staffing from a legal standpoint, and then we have to look at it from a maintenance of physical effort standpoint. We have to look at it from a lot of different angles. IDEA is governed around a lot of different pieces that's required, so that's when we would really have to look at it. But I do look at all that every year.
And can I ask, I know you come to us and say we're about to be at cap or we're about to be over. If somebody else moves in, then we're going to be over the numbers. So when you're looking at that, are you bringing it to us like proactively, or do you wait until like we have the numbers and then you bring it?
I'm waiting until I can't push another student on those caseloads. So we've had students move in and we have like one open spot and we have like 5 students in referral.
So it's more
That's going to play.
proactive?
Barely.
It is barely proactive. Yeah. We do not, if it is barely proactive, that's the best way to put it. If I can't predetermine students are going to place for services, but if I can look at data, and I've been doing this a long time, and I know what I can project out based on that, then that's where we are with those referrals. But I barely bring it. Yeah, I wait until I have 1 or 2 spots left, and we have move-ins every week, so we rarely have people leave in the middle of the year around here. So it's not like some districts you have them come and go a lot in the middle of the year. We really do not. So it's a good question though.
Anybody else have questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Can I have a motion to approve the hardship applications?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. McCowan. I will second it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, or any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into executive session for discussion concerning student discipline pursuant to KRS 61.810 L and F, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property of which publicity would be likely to affect the value pursuant to KRS number 61.810 L and B, and for discussion of pending litigation pursuant to KRS 61.810 L and C.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCown.
Just to clarify for the record, sorry, the statutory sections are 1F, 1C, and 1B.
Okay.
Sorry.
Second by Ms. McCown. All those in favor?
Aye.
Going to There was no action in executive session. We have a motion to return from executive session by Mr. Ambrose.
Second.
Second by Ms. McCowan. All those in favor?
Aye. Mr. Motion,
Motion passes
Mr.
5-0.
I move we adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn by Mr. Wilson. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hope your little ones.